It was about 10 years before I ovulated. After a diagnosis of you will likely never get pregnant naturally, I was like, we must have missed something. Like, I'm willing to try anything. I did not want to do in vitro. I did not want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars until I miscarried, which was unfortunate, but I was.
Hey SB fam, carnivores, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Bella, the Steak and Butter Gal. I hope you all are having an amazing meat-fueled day. And as always, drop a comment down below and let me know how you all are doing on your carnivore journeys. In today's video, I am so excited to invite on my friend Richelle to share all about her healing story. She went from looking like this, she used to be a bodybuilder, she developed a very unhealthy relationship to food and eating in general. She battled with infertility issues for a very long time. Well, guess what? She is now in her third trimester of her very first healthy pregnancy. So I'm so excited for you to hear all about Richelle's story. I also wanted to share that my next carnivore challenge is now open for sign up. All of the faces shown on the screen will be guest speakers in the upcoming challenge month. Dr. Anthony Chafee, Dr. Robert Kiltz, Dr. Tony Hampton, Dr. Sabrina Solt, and Coach Rebecca Heischman. Go to the URL shown on the screen to sign up and read more, or click the link down below in the description box. Richelle, welcome. How are you?
Hi, I'm so good. I'm so excited to be here with you. Thank you so much.
So I really want to dive right into your carnivore journey, but also your pregnancy journey. You are currently how far along with your beautiful pregnancy?
I'm about 34, 35 weeks. I'm at the tail end of the third trimester, feeling great. I have lots of energy still, considering third trimester.
Amazing. Share a little bit about why you decided to give the carnivore diet a chance.
Ooh, this is a great question. Okay, I wasn't entirely sure about carnivore when I first heard about it. My husband had told me about it. I had seen Michaela Peterson and Jordan Peterson that they did it, and I was like, what is this? Only eating meat? Like, I love meat. And then my husband was like, you know what? I have this chronic pain in my elbows. I've heard really good things that it's great for reducing inflammation. I think we should give it a try. So he sent me a couple of videos. I watched a video interview with Ken Berry and Kelly Hogan. And I was like, oh my gosh, she overcame infertility. That was it. That was a turning point for me. I was like, I don't care. I will try this. After a diagnosis of you will likely never get pregnant naturally, I was like, we must have missed something. Like, I'm willing to try anything. I did not want to do in vitro. I did not want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. I didn't want to do any fancy injections or anything. I was like, this is my last go at it. And if this doesn't work out, then we'll adopt. And I mean, here I am, 34, 35 weeks pregnant, and just so grateful. Cannot wait to meet this little person.
Oh my gosh. Every time I see you, I get so excited and so happy because this is a carnivore baby on the
It
way.
is. It is. It
It's
is a carnivore
beautiful.
baby. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on your healing journey so far. I have a lot of women who watch because their goal is to be fertile, to have a baby, to get pregnant. I want to kind of explore how you went from being infertile, not being able to conceive naturally, to currently being pregnant. What happened?
This is a really great question. And I mean, I will attribute it to patience and carnivore. I had no idea that the way that I was eating previously could have such a detrimental effect on my body and my hormones. Compounded with both my husband and I being former bodybuilding competitors. I was a figure competitor. He was a bodybuilder. When your body fat percentage is that low, it's very rare and very difficult for a woman to ovulate naturally. Each woman needs a different percentage of body fat in order to have a healthy, proper, strong ovulation. And because of my history with competing and having a really low body fat percentage for a very long time, it was about 10 years before I ovulated. And it really actually messes with you. And I just shared this with a client earlier today, that when your hormones are not balanced, your brain is not balanced. So
Yes.
I'm not poo-pooing, like birth control or anything like that. If people want to use that method, that's up to them. But me personally, I felt worse previously when I had to take, birth control pills or use an IUD or anything like that, because it shuts down your body's natural rhythms. And when you shut down any part of your body's natural rhythm, your brain's like, hey, I'm not getting what I need here. What's missing? And so for my body to ovulate again, I did a week-long guided fast. This was before I was carnivore, which was helpful. It did reset my system to ovulate again, which was great. But I still wasn't able to conceive. So there were still some underlying issues going on. There was a diagnosis of PCOS. And the practitioner that we went to also said that, unfortunately, my husband also was a contributing factor. Like he wasn't able to produce what he needed to produce on his side of things. And so that was where the diagnosis came in. They're like, yeah, chances are of you guys getting pregnant naturally is basically none. And I was like, oh, there's got to be another way. And so focusing on nutrition, Raymond's priming protocol, which I was like, you mean I get to eat everything on carnivore and I get to like pig out about it and nobody gets to say boo to me? I was totally down for that. Coming from a background of also binge eating disorder, restrictive binge eating, sugar addiction. Yeah. This was like my dream way of eating. I'm like, eat as much as you want and don't stop until you're full. Right. So honestly, that's the protocol that I used. And it really, really bolstered my system. It brought all of my micronutrient deficiencies back into optimal ranges, and my husband's as well. We started Carnivore October 2nd, 2022. Yeah, we're 2022. And we were able to conceive by December. I was trying to fast and I couldn't figure out why I was having so much trouble fasting. And it was because I was pregnant and I didn't know at the time until I miscarried, which was unfortunate, but I was grateful because that meant that my body had healed enough that it was able to start to do the conception and pregnancy gestation process. And so we were really excited and we were like, okay, we're not giving up now. Like we can't give up now. And then again, we conceived, I think around in beginning of April, we conceived for the second time, which we were both just over the moon. There was a lot of happy tears shed because we've been together for 4.5 years and it took us almost 4 years to get pregnant.
Your husband also had issues with infertility. We often skip over that part. We often assume it's the woman. What did your husband do differently? And do you know what was going on with him initially?
He went carnivore and got the inflammation in his body down to a more practical level. So I think he had a lot of inflammation. He had a lot of gut issues as well, a lot of bloating and gas and that sort of thing. And he's done historically very well on like a keto, low carb way of eating, just with his energy and his cognition. And, he just wanted to see a reduction in his pain. The thought wasn't even in his brain about getting pregnant, but it was in mine. I was like, we're doing this.
Awesome. And then you did say that you did not have a cycle or a healthy, normal cycle for 10 whole years. I relate to the struggle with that because I personally didn't have it for 2 years. And I'm so fascinated by what changes you felt when you weren't having your cycle. For me, it was just irritability, anger all of the time, just so many emotions that I had to deal with. And I almost felt like I was having those ghost periods where I was having PMS, but I wasn't fertile. I wasn't having my cycle and my weight fluctuating all over the place. So I can't imagine how it was for you with bodybuilding on top of that.
Honestly, I think I was just kind of numb to it. I just expected that was normal. It was kind of normalized for, really hyper athletic women like myself with really low body fat and really high muscle content to have little to no cycles. And no cycle can be defined as amenorrhea, like no bleeding at all, or it can be defined as not having an ovulation. So I was anovulatory and I would also experience temporary amenorrhea or skipped or missed periods.
Wow.
It was really hard on me mentally. I had a lot of depression. I had a lot of anxiety. I was constantly fatigued. I just didn't feel good. And I was like, yeah, I look amazing. Like I'm shredded. I'm like 15% body fat. I got a 6-pack, like rocking abs all the time. But at what cost? That was the question that I had to start asking myself, at what cost? And if somebody would have talked to me about this, I don't know if I would have listened. I was young and dumb. I was like 21 when I was doing all of this stuff.
Wow.
But I think if somebody would have talked to me and said, I want to help you do this bodybuilding thing, but I want you to maintain your cycle and your ovulation, I think I would have looked at it a little bit differently because I didn't look at the potential consequences long-term of having children and the desire to want to have children without having a cycle. I think people kind of neglect to look at that. They're like, oh, well, I just want to get shredded for this beach vacation, or I just want to do this competition. But I'm like, are you thinking about your future? Because if you shut your system down now, how long is it going to take you to get your system started back up? And will it start back up? That was my question, because it had been 10 years. I'm like, oh my gosh, is my system ever going to come back online? Like, I want to be able to naturally conceive. And that was a big fear. And that probably didn't help either, because fear is a stress in the body as well.
Absolutely. And I want to talk about body image and maybe body dysmorphia because my last guest, Alicia, who was also a bodybuilder, she talked extensively about having to go through that process of starting to love your body again or starting to accept changes in your body when you're trying to heal. How was that like for you?
Okay, let's have some hashtag real talk here, because when I came to Carnivore, I was like, oh, everybody talks about losing weight on Carnivore. I was like, oh, maybe I can lose a little bit of weight. And I was
Yeah.
a healthy weight. I'm 5'7.5". I was about 167 pounds, shredded, like
Yeah.
probably around 19-20% body fat, like looking pretty
Dang.
lean, nice and stealth. I could do all the things I needed to do. And when I came to Carnivore with the priming, because I was so malnourished, I ended up gaining 14 pounds, and I was freaking out. I was like,
Yeah.
everybody else is losing weight. Why am I gaining weight? This is terrifying. But my body composition changed.
Mm,
About all about the butter boobs and the butter butt.
absolutely.
And like, I mean, I got a juicy booty, but like my boobs, all of a sudden they were here. And I was like, okay, this is great. My waist shrunk 3 inches. My hips went down an inch and a half. And I was like,
Wow. Yes.
okay, 14 pounds, but I lost inches. I don't understand how this works. And I
Right.
realized that my body was hyper responding to the food and nutrition plus my training, because I was still training 5, 6, 7 days a week, heavy weights in the gym. And my
Yes.
body was just like, oh, we're getting all of this nourishment. Let's just build more muscle. And that is exactly what happened. Muscle density, bone density. My pre-pregnancy weight, and this is full disclosure, I'm being totally honest with people, was 192 pounds, and I was still lean. I was still maybe only like 22% body fat.
Incredible.
People want to get all hung up on the weight thing, and I'm like, please don't get hung up on the number. It's
Yes.
really not important. It's how you look and how you feel, which is where body dysmorphia comes in, because that number on the scale really messes with my head. It
Yeah.
really messes with my head. Stage weight, when I was competing in a national figure competition, I was at national level, I was 128 pounds. That's dehydrated, completely depleted,
Yeah.
like tiny, tiny, tiny. And now to be pregnant, I'm over 200 pounds now. I think I've gained 19 pounds with my pregnancy, which is pretty awesome, apparently.
Yes.
It's the heaviest I've ever been, but it's also the best I've ever felt, which is crazy to me, because I'm like, how am I so heavy, but I still feel so amazing? My
Yes.
joints don't hurt. My body doesn't hurt. I have tons of energy. I have very clear thinking.
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't know. There's something to be said about this.
Okay. You seriously are my muse. I do have to tell you, Rochelle, that I cannot believe a pregnant woman who I get to hang out with like multiple times throughout the week, and you're now almost due to give birth. You are in a good mood, happy, patient, not grouchy ever. I've never seen you just like always happy and very attentive, you know? And we always associate pregnancy with, oh no, mood swings all over the place, throwing up, nausea, morning sickness, right? Did you have any of that?
I had one day at the beginning of my pregnancy where I didn't feel super great, and it was
Yeah.
actually because my progesterone was too low.
Wow.
There's optimal levels for each woman, and mine was too low, which was actually the reason why I miscarried in January. So I
Right.
worked with my midwife. I went on a supplement. I
Yes.
got my progesterone to an optimal level, and I have been even
Yes.
keel the whole time. I only had to take this supplement during my first trimester, and I've been feeling amazing. Even my husband's like, aren't pregnant women supposed to be kind of, crazy? And I
Exactly.
was like, I've had 2 times where I've had like a cry because, we moved to a different country and I'm still meeting people.
Mm.
And one day where I was like kind of bummed out and mad about things just
Mhm.
because some things weren't going my way, which happens
Yes,
sometimes.
life. Yeah,
But I feel very calm. I feel very at ease, at peace. I think that is a byproduct of a nourished body. I
exactly.
really do.
Exactly. Yeah. I hope that I have a pregnancy just like yours, where I am not just calm and patient, but I am even happier than I usually am. You're just so joyful all the time and so inspiring. Okay, so you talked about priming. Now, a lot of my viewers, they have no idea what this concept is. They've never heard about it. It was created by Coach Raymond. He kind of came up with this concept through his own carnivore journey and the hurdles he needed to overcome. What is priming to you, Richelle?
Ooh, priming to me is replenishing and restoring and reviving your body and your nutrient levels, all of your micro and macro nutrients. It's getting your digestive system working again. It's getting your brain back online. It's getting your hormones back online. It is all of the moving parts working in a symbiotic way. That is what priming is to me.
And now I'll provide a more concrete definition of what priming is all about. It's basically a 2 to 3 week long period where you follow a schedule that Coach Raymond gives out that consists of eating 3 meals every single day with snacks in between the meals. This is intentional and is part of his full 90-day program. Raymond guides all of the members to go through his priming process, and he teaches you how to truly feast so that you can enjoy the full benefits of intermittent fasting and extended fasting. We teach the full priming protocol and give out weekly, easy to follow schedules in our monthly carnivore challenges. The Steak and Butter Gang is where Coach Raymond Nazon and Coach Emily Harvo teach their weekly priming, feasting, and fasting classes. You can get more details and directly sign up and join us at the URL shown on the screen, sbgmeetup.com, or you can click the links down below in the description box. You and I, we both are previous binge eaters. And how has kind of approaching carnivore in a abundant mindset where you do not restrict anymore, you get to eat as much as your heart desires, how has that impacted or maybe negatively affected your binge eating history?
Ooh, actually, when I came to carnivore, it wasn't even a thought or a question in my brain that maybe this might be something that I would be able to overcome.
Yeah.
Previously, I did not think that there was a way out. I really thought that for the rest of my life, I'm going to be stuck with this sugar addiction, this binge eating disorder, this restriction, this back and forth. I was like, I just have to accept this. I'm just going to have to live like this.
Right.
And approaching carnivore from the you can eat as much as you want. And even my husband was like, Richelle, you can eat as much as you want. And I'm like, full permission? He's like, full permission. I'm like, full permission. Okay. And I gave myself full permission with his encouragement too. I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm all in. It was, oh my gosh, it literally took about 6 or 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I don't want any more. I don't want any more sugar. I don't want any more sweet. Like I kept sweetener in for the first 6 weeks. One day I was like, I wonder what would happen if I took this out. And that curiosity was way stronger than the desire to, or the craving for sweet. So I took it out. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want it. Like I would think about it and I'm like, I actually don't want it. And then I noticed as soon as I took the sweetener out, my chronic arthritic pain in my neck that was like crippling. Like some days I couldn't even get out of bed. Like early 30s can't get out of bed. That's a problem. Was gone. I was like, what? Like I can live without pain. I can live nourished. I can live with all this energy. Like there's so many things that I just never thought carnivore would help resolve. And it just, because my focus was so oriented around fertility, all of the rest of the stuff, like I had to have someone like remind me like, hey, you haven't complained about your neck in a while. Like, hey, you haven't had like digestive troubles in a while. It was just amazing. And yeah, the binge eating, I have not had a binge since, like I said, around the 6 to 8 week mark. And for me, that was significant because like I would get home from a stressful day and I would go to the cupboard and I would eat until I didn't feel anymore, which is a huge problem. It's a big reason why most people binge eat because they don't like how they feel. They don't like how they look. They don't like their job. They don't like their spouse. They don't, whatever the things are that they don't like, or they're avoiding something and want to stuff it down. Like maybe they're dealing with grief and that's how they know, or maybe that's how they, feel love or something like that. And it's devastating to me and heartbreaking to me that people feel the need to turn to food instead of support and community like what we have in the Steak and Butter Gang. Like if people even if they just came in for like one meeting, I think they would just realize like how much love and support is available to them and how normal it is.
Yeah.
And like, we don't want to normalize the binge eating, but we know it's a normal part of a lot of people's lives. And we want people to feel normal about being able to overcome it. And I think carnivore is just such a beautiful tool to do that.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I want to talk more about why. Why do people binge eat? Why do people lean on junk, sugar, processed seed oil type of foods when they are hurting, right? And a lot of people who are struggling with this right now, watching the video, they may not even be aware of this link. They have not even put two and two together yet. And I'm so glad you said it with so much love just now, because you may have helped a lot of people kind of put that together. And look, if you're struggling with binging or not being able to cut that sugar addiction that you have, comment what you're struggling with down below in the comments. Share, type it out. What if somebody is truly alone and they're trying to go carnivore and they're trying to figure out how to heal or lose weight? What's your best advice for someone in that type of situation?
Get into community, hands down. Honestly, even with my husband and I going carnivore together, if I wouldn't have found this community, if I wouldn't have found you, Bella, and this community, I would have been so lost. Like, I had so many questions, and there's just not enough time in a day to research and watch a million YouTube videos about who's doing what in carnivore and what's working for other people. Whereas with the community, I could literally go onto the chat 24/7. It could be 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm having one of those craving days. And I would just type it in and people would respond to me. There's always somebody online. There was always somebody willing to love on me and support me and encourage me. And I got to do the same for them. You know, when I got over my hurdles and struggles, I got to do the same for them. And I was like, this is my way to pay it forward. This is my way to bless other people for blessing me. And this is my way to encourage other people to know that there's a way out. You do not have to stay in the depths of despair for the rest of your life unless you choose to. You can choose to climb out and I will give you the ladder.
Amazing. Share a little bit about how your pregnancy has been for you. What has surprised you? What were some struggles and how did you get over those hurdles?
Okay, great question. So my pregnancy journey has been, for the most part, very, very smooth. Nutritionally, it's been smooth. All of my labs have been optimal. Like I said at the beginning, there was one day where I kind of had a little bit of nausea and I was like, oh, I don't feel super great. Yeah. And it was due to low progesterone. Once we got that optimal, it made things so much easier. Some things that surprised me with pregnancy, there's a hormone that's released in your body called relaxin, because relaxin is what we're supposed to be doing when we're pregnant. Oh. Yeah. And I'm really not great at relaxing. I am an energizer bunny. I wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I am on the move until it's 8 o'clock, and then I'm done for the night. I am shut down, gone to bed. That's it. Yeah. And it was just really interesting seeing the transition from me. Like, I wasn't super tired in my first trimester, as most women are. I probably had to take maybe a dozen naps in the first 12 weeks. So it's basically like one nap a week, which is not a lot. Not a lot. But the relaxin hormone was really interesting because it did kind of revive, if you will, some old injuries in my body. So I work with a chiropractor weekly who is great. He definitely keeps things moving. Like I mentioned, I had chronic, severe, crippling arthritis in my neck. Like, I actually have no vertebrae in a large section of my neck just due to a bad accident when I was a child. Being an athlete your whole life, you're going to have accidents. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's been the biggest challenge that I've had to overcome is not being able to work out as hard as I want to, as much as I want to, and when I want to. Yeah. Because you are a little more fatigued. Your hip joints and all of your joints are a little more loosey-goosey because they have to relax in order for the baby to move through. The other thing I would say that was difficult was just learning how the different hormones can kind of affect things in your body. I didn't put too much thought into it just because, like I said, I've felt amazing throughout my whole pregnancy. But like, when I feel something, for example, I mentioned there were 2 times where I've had a big cry. Yeah. When I feel something, I feel it deeply. And it's not a superficial thing. It's like, no, I'm actually feeling sincerely sad. You know, I sincerely miss my friends from back home. They're another country away from me.
Mhm.
I think that's normal, but you know, I just leaned on my husband. I leaned on the community. I made sure that I stayed nourished,
Mhm.
and staying nourished, I think honestly has, like I said, I think it's kept me very even
Yes.
keeled, all the butter, all the time.
All the butter. Yes.
All the butter. Yes. All the butter all the time. It's been a really smooth pregnancy, and I'm really looking forward to giving birth. I have no idea what I'm in for, but I have a clue, a small clue.
Yes.
And
Okay.
I just can't wait to meet this little person.
Do you share how you plan to give birth?
Ooh, great question. So my plan to give birth is actually to do a home birth. I have a midwife. I actually found her before I got pregnant,
Okay.
and she's
Sure.
just amazing. She's delivered over 350 babies.
Wow.
She has seen all of the things, and she
Okay.
just put my mind totally at ease about any potential complications. You know, there are yellow flags, red flags, things that she will look for to let me know if we
Right.
ever need to transfer to a hospital. But my plan is actually to have the little birthing tub, and to do it at home in a tub, little water birth. And the only people that I want there are my husband, her, and my doula. I just want it to be like super peaceful. I don't want any bright lights,
Yes.
nothing. I just want it to be ambient, comfortable in
Yes.
my own home. So when I'm done, I can shower, take my baby, and go to bed. That's my
Wow.
dream.
I would love to do that myself. For me, though, the hurdle to get over is convincing Max because he's very much still believing that there's no way my baby's going to be safe being born in the house. I need doctors, I need nurses to take care of you and the baby, you know?
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
was this a struggle for your husband?
No,
Okay.
no. The way we approached this, and the way I approached him about it, was, how did they do this 100 years ago, 200 years ago? They didn't have this same level of care. And while our medical system definitely has a place,
Yep.
I don't feel like I should have to be robbed of the birth of my dreams. And, you
Mm,
know, maybe this birth, we have a birth at home, and then maybe next time we have to do it in the hospital. But if I have the choice, I would rather be at home in my own environment with the comforts, you know, of having him there and having my midwife there. There's a
yep.
really great book. It's called The Birthing Partner, and it talks about the differences that couples can kind of face with this, where the husband thinks like, oh, we can only do this in a hospital, and he
Right.
convinces the wife of that. And unfortunately, if the wife concedes to that, then sometimes, you know, like they're not as happy. I just don't think that we should be robbed of the experience of a natural birth if that's what we choose.
If people are watching this video and they want to continue following along your carnivore progress, but of course your pregnancy journey, where can people follow along?
Well, I recently started a YouTube channel. Thank you to your encouragement. It is a Real Life Carnivore. That is also my Instagram handle. That is also my website, where I post delicious recipes. On Instagram, I'm posting recipe reels at least once or twice a week as time permits. And yeah, I have a Facebook page as well that's also Real Life Carnivore.
Everything is linked down below. If someone was ready to jump into carnivore, what are your best tips on how to start this lifestyle, carnivore diet, and not have to worry about any harsh symptoms, just to have a smooth journey? What are your best tips?
Ooh, my best tips. Well, my journey when I started carnivore was a little rough. I had loose stools for about 6 weeks.
Me
And I'm
too.
just being honest about that. My system definitely had to do some detoxing and some purging.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend, to eat the foods you enjoy that are carnivore. So for me, dairy. Dairy is hyper palatable. I want all the cheese, I want all the heavy cream, and I enjoyed all of those things. Probably why I gained a little bit of weight during my priming journey, but it was totally worth it because it kept me carnivore. I
Yes.
still enjoyed my seasonings and spices. Like I said, I kept sweeteners in for the first week and 6 weeks, and then I just didn't want them after that. And
Right.
I noticed, and this takes some time because depending on which way of eating you're coming from, whether it be vegan, vegetarian, sad diet, I hate that it's called the sad diet, but it really does make you sad.
It does. Hmm.
Depending on which way of eating you're coming from, you may want to keep in spices and seasonings, and it may take you a longer period of time to adjust, or it may take you less time to adjust. My husband, it was super easy for him. He went lion diet for the first 2 weeks.
Oh,
I
nice.
was like, I can't do that. I
Right.
need hyperpalatable
Right.
carnivore foods in order for me to stick to this. And so I got really creative. I was like, what are my favorite foods to eat that are on the SAD diet that I
Mm.
could make carnivore? So I made carnivore nachos. I made chicken Alfredo with like protein sparing noodles, like all of these options. There's so many great recipes out there. And I just dug into all of the recipes. I tried everything. I ate all the things that I liked.
Yeah.
And I just knew that if I stuck with it long enough, I would eventually be able to get rid of those other foods, like, the
Exactly.
junk foods, the
Yeah.
non-carnivore foods. It
Right.
made it a lot easier. And like I said, community was huge for me. I
Mhm.
would say for anybody who's on the fence about it, come and see our community. Come and check us out. We are like the most loving, appreciative, connected group. Like everybody loves on everybody, and everybody's at a different journey. Like some people are keto coming in, and some people
Yeah.
are vegan coming in. We're all here for different reasons. Most of us are here for healing. And I think there's no better way to do that than in a group community setting.
Amazing. I love your approach about like not starting carnivore as perfect, right? Strict, 100% pure, 100% clean. And I think that is often kind of almost looked down upon. If somebody says, "Oh, you're dirty carnivore," right? It doesn't make you feel good, you know? And I don't know
No.
why people use that phrase dirty carnivore. Anybody can be carnivore. That's still carnivore, you know? And I'm
Yeah.
so glad you brought that up about embracing the cheese, the cream, the milk. If you love the milk, the yogurts, what are your priorities? We have to weigh those out. Do you want to do this long term? Chances are it will help you and aid you get to that spot. If you're suffering from low energy, fatigue, headaches, muscle cramps, disrupted sleep, chances are you are going through an electrolyte imbalance. This is just a temporary symptom of adapting to a carnivore diet. So I highly recommend you generously salt all of your carnivore meals, snacks, and if that doesn't do the trick to help with these symptoms, you can lean on a high quality electrolyte like this one by Element. I personally recommend this colored box called Raw Unflavored because it has nothing but the three electrolytes that our body needs: sodium, potassium, and magnesium. There's no stevia, sweeteners, flavorings of any kind, easy to pack on the go. To take it, you just rip one open, pour it in whatever beverage you usually drink, mix it up, drink it down, and you are good to go. If you're active and you sweat a lot, you may need more than one packet per day, but of course, experiment and see how you feel as you go. You all can get a free sample pack with any purchase if you go to the URL shown on the screen, drinkelementi.com/SBGAL. Also, link them down below in the description box. Talk about how you titrated or maybe cold turkey got off the sweeteners, and how did that go for you?
Honestly, priming was the deal. Priming. I rave about priming. Raymond will love that I'm raving about priming because once my body was nourished, there was no need for cravings. And you will find that as your body gets more and more nourished, cravings disappear. Cravings for the carbs, cravings for the sweet. The only thing that I crave now, even being pregnant, and like, pregnancy has this whole bravado about, oh, I had cravings for pickles and ice cream. I do have a little post on what those cravings can indicate during pregnancy and what nutrients you may need to focus on during pregnancy. Those cravings are indications that there's something lacking in your body. So for example, my biggest craving during pregnancy has been dairy, which means calcium. Now, I've heard recently that calcium is great for binding to oxalate, which is something that releases as we go carnivore or can release going carnivore. But this little baby is developing little bones and
Yep.
they need calcium for their little bones. And so if I crave the dairy, I eat the dairy, but I don't crave anything that's not carnivore. And in my first trimester, I did crave certain fruits, which I thought was really interesting. But I realized that those fruits that I was craving were cravings for, and specifically watermelon and tomatoes and strawberries. So watermelon and tomatoes are full of lycopene, which is critical for fetal development.
Hmm.
Strawberries are full of folic acid, critical for fetal development, for neural tube development. So what I did was I ate the foods that were carnivore that were full of lycopene in excess so I could make sure that I was getting enough. And I had to bolster with methylated folate for supplementation. But that was it. As soon as I got those optimal, cravings went away. And it's the same thing with the sweet craving, with the sugar cravings. The second I got my body optimal, all of the cravings went away. I did not want for anything else.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, you did also mention eating butter, right? And I love butter. It's in my handle. It seriously healed me and changed my life. I definitely credit eating so much butter and, of course, animal fats in general to bringing back my period. So, yay, that's amazing. Like the best benefit ever. Why do you eat butter and why do you choose butter as opposed to some other animal fats?
Ooh, butter because I enjoy the texture. I
Yeah.
enjoy the flavor. I'm a big Kerrygold salted fan. I know some
Yeah.
people like the unsalted, but I like the salted.
Yeah.
uh,
Love it.
and honestly, it was part of it was because of you. Like, everybody has this fear of fats, this fear of butter.
Right?
It's like everybody's like, oh, you got to eat the margarine. I'm like, no, that stuff is trash, honestly.
Yes.
Eat the real stuff and see what it does for your body.
Yes.
And even being pregnant, like that has been something that I've craved from time to time. And it's because our brains are made of cholesterol.
Yes.
And there is a lot of healthy, good cholesterol
Yes.
in butter. And so obviously, as my baby's brain is tripling in this last trimester, I'm going to need a little extra butter to
Right.
help the baby's brain development and to help other tissues develop. And it also keeps my energy up. I don't eat it in
Ah,
excess, but if I crave it, I eat it. If I want an egg pudding, I put butter all over it. If I want
right.
that, certain meats, I put butter all over them. And it's been so healing and so nourishing for my hormones. It actually helped me have very strong ovulations leading up to getting pregnant. Like that was another thing that I saw with carnivore and with going higher fat.
Mhm.
There's the low fat era we know was super detrimental
Yes.
in many ways, in many, many ways. And so switching my mindset to being high fat,
Yes. Of
it was scary at first, but
course.
it was so worth it to see like my hormones come back and like working strong and optimally, to have a healthy ovulation, to have a healthy period. I was like, all this time I could have been eating butter, and like I always preferred butter. I hated margarine growing up.
Yeah.
It was always in our house, and
Right.
if there was butter, like I would sneak the butter because I was like, I hate margarine. I don't want to eat that. That is why I love butter. It's so nourishing for me, for the baby, for my energy, for my brain, for my
Yes.
hormones. It
Hmm.
goes on, and for my boobs.
Oh, yeah. Butter boobs, butter booty. We love all of it. What's a typical day of eating for you?
Okay, currently with running out of room, I've had to switch from 3 or 4 large meals a day down to about 5 to 6 smaller meals. I
Okay.
just can't fit as much into my belly because there's a baby pushing
Right.
up on that.
Yeah.
So I usually start my day with anywhere from 4 to 6 scrambled eggs with cheddar cheese on it. That's what I want to eat every morning for breakfast.
Nice.
I often have either a collagen yogurt or protein yogurt or a protein shake as like
Mm,
a little interim snack.
awesome.
My third meal is usually some sort of meaty leftover. Like I'm batch cook because it's just so much easier for me. So like I'll do like boursin chicken, or I'll do like bacon wrap, stuffed meatloaf or
Yep.
something. My current favorite right now is I make a crustless carnivore quiche. It's just ground
Yum.
beef with cheese and then scrambled eggs on top and bacon, and it's unbelievably good.
Oh,
So I'll
yum.
eat that, for the next 2, 3 meals. And then maybe I want to have chicken tenders again, or maybe I want to have an egg pudding and a hamburger patty. But I just make sure that whatever I'm eating, it's like I'm
Mm.
eating to satiation, but also making sure that I'm following any promptings in my body. So like if I'm craving eggs, I eat eggs. If I'm craving chicken, I eat chicken. If I'm craving beef, I eat beef. And I just trust my body's cues and signals that she's asking for what she needs, not just for me, but for the health of my baby.
Of course. That's probably the most important tip that I try to reiterate here on my channel is forget about all the noise. Of course, there are so many carnivore superstars in the community who give incredible information, content, videos, but don't forget to listen to this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
You.
Yeah,
Exactly.
your feedback, your body's feedback is so critical. It's so pertinent to your journey.
That's right. What is your best hack to keep the carnivore diet budget friendly and cheap?
I bought a whole cow. Buying a whole cow, it seems really expensive because you front the cost,
Yeah.
like the cost is up front. But when you're looking at the purchase price of the whole cow at $4.50 per pound, all cuts,
I love it.
cut and wrapped,
Yep.
that's your ribs, your brisket, your T-bones, your filet, your hamburger, everything, versus me going to the grocery store. To me, it just made way more sense for me. That is how much beef I eat. Like I'm literally just finishing the cow, and we bought it last December, end of December last year.
Smart. That is awesome. You've really come full circle, Richelle. When you were a member, I already had my eyes on you and I was following along your journey just so happily, right? Because you would always speak up in the meetings, update us, share what you were struggling with, and of course, ask your fantastic questions. You always ask such great questions. It's really a cycle of love and knowledge and connection. How does it feel to be a coach coming from a member in the Steak and Butter Gang?
Ooh, oh my gosh. Okay, I love what I do. Like there's a reason why I do what I do, and I just love helping people. I love seeing people overcome. And then being a part of this community just solidified like where my niche really needed to be and where it landed. And then just seeing the changes in people, going from being a member to a moderator to a coach, that stair-step approach was super helpful for me, mostly because I mean, I just want to love on everybody, but sometimes I love on them a little too much, kind of thing, in the sense that they want to receive but don't want to give, which is fine. I totally understand that it's not possible for everybody, and I will give to people because that's what I feel like I'm called to do. But I just love being in that coaching container. I love being able to help people. I love being able to see people transform. I don't do it for the kudos. I don't do it for the good job, Richelle. I don't do it for any of that. I do it to see this person get to this goal, to overcome this health condition, to, get pregnant, whatever their goal is. Like I have one client right now. She's amazing. She wants to enlist in the military, and they have a weight restriction for the military. And I'm like, girl, we got this. Like we're not too far away from this. And so just hearing her goals and knowing that we're working together as part of this community and one-on-one is just so encouraging to see.
And the proudest moment where I felt so much joy and exhilaration was when one of Richelle's own clients in the gang, she spoke up. She even gave us her before and after pictures to share in our community call. I shared screen. We celebrated her. She expressed her gratitude and love for her relationship with Richelle. And for me to see the journey that Richelle has walked, coming in as a confused member who wants to heal, healed, got pregnant, done all of that, and is coaching and changing lives. That is why I live for all of this. What was the most fulfilling thing about helping someone like Kati who wanted to heal but also lose weight?
Just seeing the change in her countenance in just even 1 week. I was like, this is 1 week of carnivore. And it makes me wonder, like, what changes did people see in me in the first week? Yes. And then the second week and the third week and the fourth week? I just, you can't put a price on that. Like we talked about weight loss, hormone balancing, getting off medications, lowering blood pressure.
Right.
There's so many different physiological things that can change, but what changes in your brain and what changes in your heart when you're going through this process is also really inspiring.
Well, Richelle, do share where people can find you and if they wanted to connect with you personally.
Hey, the best place to connect with me would be on Instagram for sure. My handle is Real Life Carnivore. My website, reallifecarnivore.com, and my YouTube channel, Real Life Carnivore.
Perfect. Everything is linked down below in the description box. Thank you for being here, Richelle.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's conversation. You all can go show Richelle some love and support by checking out all her socials, which I have linked down below in the description box. And I just wanted to share an amazing holiday gift idea since the holidays are coming up. Blue blockers. It's something that I have been wearing and integrating into my life every single day. And they have really made an impact to how my eye feels throughout the day, especially at the end end of a long day, so I like to protect my eyes with these high quality blue blockers from Bon Charge. The yellow one is medium strength. These red ones are maximum protection. So I usually pop these on the moment it starts to get dark outside, and I wear these whenever I do meetings. They currently have an amazing 25% off sale through the holidays. Check them out by clicking the links down below. All right, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to not miss my future videos. And if you enjoyed this conversation, feel free to hit like and share with all of your friends and family. I will see you in my next video. SBG out.